if you want to break with these imperialist forces, it's simple. We denounce the agreements. Everything starts from there.
My mother sells Groundnuts so she can afford to buy me textbooks and exercise books. Captain Traoré's story. In a world where opportunity is often a luxury, one boy dared to dream. His mother, with calloused hands and unwavering faith, sold Groundnuts just to buy her son textbooks and exercise books. That boy, he grew up to be Captain Traoré. This isn't just a story about success. It's a tribute to sacrifice, perseverance, and the kind of love that fuels greatness. Today, we take you on a journey that begins with a humble bag of groundnuts and leads to the skies. This is the story of Captain Traoré and the mother who made it all possible. So let's dive in this journey. A humble beginning in Kara. Ibrahim Traoré was born on March 14, 1988, in Kara, a small village in Bondokui, Muhun Province, Burkina Faso. Growing up in a rural setting, Traoré's early life was marked by simplicity and struggle. His mother, like many women in rural Africa, played a pivotal role in sustaining the family. Selling groundnuts, a staple crop in the region, was her way of ensuring her children had access to education, a luxury in a country where poverty and limited infrastructure often hinder academic opportunities. The image of a mother toiling under the sun, trading small bags of groundnuts to afford textbooks and exercise books, is a powerful symbol of sacrifice and hope. For young Ibrahim, these efforts were not just a means to an end, but a lesson in resilience, hard work, and the value of education. Traoré's primary education in Bondokui laid the foundation for his academic journey. Described as quiet and very talented by those who knew him, he excelled in his studies and later attended high school in Bobo-Dioulasso, Burkina Faso's second-largest city. His mother's sacrifices ensured he had the resources to pursue his education, which eventually led him to the University of Ouagadougou, where he studied geology. This academic path was a stepping stone to a military career that would change the course of his life and his nation's history. A military career forged in crisis. Traoré's journey from a studious boy to a military leader was shaped by Burkina Faso's turbulent socio-political landscape. After completing his university education, he underwent anti-aircraft training in Morocco and joined an infantry unit in Kaya, a town in northern Burkina Faso. Promoted to lieutenant in 2014, Traoré served with the United Nations peacekeeping force MINUSMA in Mali, where he was recognized for his courage during rebel attacks in the Tombouctou region. By 2020, he had risen to the rank of captain, fighting in counterinsurgency operations against the jihadist insurgency plaguing Burkina Faso's north. It was during these operations that Traoré witnessed the stark realities of his country's struggles. He became disillusioned with the leadership, observing a lack of equipment for soldiers, while politicians engaged in corruption. This frustration would later fuel his determination to challenge the status quo. The sacrifices of his mother, who worked tirelessly to provide him with an education, likely resonated with him as he saw the broader systemic failures that left ordinary Burkinabés struggling to survive. The coup of 2022, a turning point. On September 30th, 2022, Captain Traoré led a coup d'etat that ousted interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, who had himself seized power earlier that year. Supported by the Cobra unit, Traoré's coup was driven by a desire to address the escalating security crisis and the government's failure to equip its soldiers adequately. At the age of 34, Traoré became the interim president of Burkina Faso, assuming the title of head of state, supreme head of the armed forces. His rise to power was not just a military maneuver, but a bold statement against decades of mismanagement and foreign influence. Traoré's leadership style is deeply influenced by his humble roots and the values instilled by his mother's sacrifices. He has maintained a modest demeanor, refusing to accept a presidential salary and continuing to live on his captain's earnings. This decision resonates with many Burkinabés, who see him as a leader who understands their struggles. His mother's groundnut selling days are a reminder of the grassroots reality that Traoré carries into his presidency, a commitment to prioritizing the needs of ordinary citizens over elite interests. A vision for sovereignty and self-reliance. Traoré's presidency has been marked by bold reforms aimed at reclaiming Burkina Faso's sovereignty and economic independence. One of his most significant moves was the shift away from France, Burkina Faso's former colonial power, toward a strategic alliance with Russia. This decision, controversial in Western circles, reflects Traoré's Pan-Africanist and Marxist influences, as noted by Le Monde journalist Sophie Douce. By expelling French troops in 2023 and aligning with Russia, Traoré sought to break free from neo-colonial structures that have long exploited Africa's resources. A cornerstone of his economic policy is the nationalization of Burkina Faso's gold industry. In November 2023, his government approved the construction of the country's first gold refinery, capable of processing 150 tons annually. This move aims to retain more economic benefits domestically, creating jobs and reducing reliance on exporting unrefined materials. Traoré also suspended export permits for small-scale private gold production to combat illicit trade, further asserting control over Burkina Faso's natural resources. These policies echo the sacrifices of his mother, who worked tirelessly to provide for her family, as Traoré seeks to ensure that Burkina Faso's wealth benefits its people. Challenges and controversies. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's leadership in Burkina Faso faces significant challenges despite his popularity. Jihadist groups control 40% of the country, disrupting schools and health services. His promise to restore democracy by 2024 was delayed to 2029, raising doubts about his democratic commitment. Critics on platforms like Reddit question his Russian alignment, ECOWAS exit, fearing isolation. Accusations of suppressing dissent and using propaganda persist, while a foiled coup in April 2025 underscores external and internal threats. However, supporters, inspired by his mother's sacrifice, view Traoré as a symbol of anti-imperialist resistance, with rallies in Ouagadougou in London showing strong backing. A legacy in the making. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's story is one of resilience, sacrifice, and a relentless pursuit of justice. His mother's efforts to sell Groundnuts, to afford textbooks and exercise books, were not just acts of maternal love, but investments in a future leader who would challenge the status quo. Traoré's rise from a rural village to the presidency of Burkina Faso reflects the potential of ordinary Africans when given opportunities to learn and lead. His policies, while controversial, are rooted in a vision of self-reliance and dignity for his people, a vision that mirrors the determination of a mother who worked tirelessly for her son's education. As Traoré navigates the complexities of leadership, his legacy remains uncertain. Will he be remembered as a liberator who transformed Burkina Faso, or will the challenges of governance and security overshadow his reforms? For now, his story resonates across Africa, inspiring a generation to question the legacies of colonialism and strive for a future where the sacrifices of mothers selling groundnuts translate into a continent that controls its own destiny. As Traoré himself has said, echoing the words of his ally Assimi Goïta, "No sacrifice is too big for this country." His mother's sacrifices laid the foundation for his journey, and now as president, he carries the weight of a nation's hopes for a brighter future. Captain Traoré's journey reminds us that behind every success, there's often a quiet hero, sacrificing in the shadows, giving everything without asking for anything in return. From selling groundnuts under the hot sun to seeing her son fly above the clouds, this mother's love rewrote destiny. Let this story remind us to never take our dreams, or the people who believe in them, for granted. If this story moved you, take a moment to honor all the unsung heroes out there. Like, share, and comment with the name of someone who inspires you. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories of perseverance, love, and triumph, dedicated to all mothers who never give up.